All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Warrior Mindset and Motivation Podcast. I am your host, retired Army Sergeant First Class Eric Castillo. I'm also a coach at Zimi Wellness Center in Digital Sovereignty. Now, to start off, you're probably wondering, where the hell is my ugly face at? Well, my ugly face is doing what it does, being hidden today. Because, I like to keep things dress when I come with my host, with my guests. And if you don't know what dress is, that means whatever is to my left or to my right is the same. So the guest I have today, her name is Jay Marie, and she chooses to remain anonymous. She's a Marine. So because she's anonymous, I'm going to remain anonymous. So if this is your first podcast here listening to me and you don't know what my face looks like, go look back to the previous podcast, or you wait till next week, and then you get the luxury of seeing this beautiful face again. And I did hand motions like you could see me. My goodness. Okay. But she's a Marine, and she has her own podcast, and she recently won in the Veteran Podcast Awards for her category. So congratulations for her. She won a Warhammer from them, which was a great event, and it'll be happening next year. So you guys might want to tune into that one. So Jane Marie, tell everyone a little bit about you and what's going on.
Thank you, first off, for having me on in the little intro. I tend to stay a little humble. I haven't even put out there that I won the true crime, so thank you for that. But yes, I am Jay Marie. I am the host of Women with an Effed Up Mind podcast, and it has been an adventure to say the least. The reason that I remain anonymous is because I am still currently active duty, and the things that I discuss is public record, but it's also exposing the truth, without sugarcoating and reality of things like sexual assault, sexual harassment, domestic violence, and the mental health stigma in our military. So I'm kind of bringing things from an inside view, as well as like past things. Like this past week, we did an episode on a case that was back in 2005. So, it's a very wide variety of new, old, current stories that are going on.
Nice.
But yeah.
That's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. So when did you join the Marines? Like what inspired you, or said, you know what, I'm gonna go be a Marine, or I like to call them the crayon eaters because they love the crayons and everything. So what inspired you to go do that in join the Marines? At what age too?
I actually wanted to join the Marines. 9/11 was my calling. And then when it finally came time for me to officially be able to, I ended up finding out I was pregnant at MEPS the day I was leaving for boot camp, ironically. So I went and worked. I went to college, kind of put that on the back burner, raised my kid. And now he was to the point where he was old enough. His dad was out of the Marine Corps. So then I was like, okay, I may be old as shit, but it is finally my turn. And I also wanted to join their powerlifting team, which is no longer a thing thanks to COVID. But yeah, that was really it. I always wanted to be that Marine. I always wanted, that title and that sense of just pride that, everybody that knows a Marine knows we take the title to a whole different level. So.
And that is very true. My goodness, that is. And you know what? I like that though, because people like, the Army, oh, I'm in the Army, but then you hear Marine and it's like, oh, Marine, ooh, rah, 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 and they make all these sounds and noises. And you're like, whoa, I just asked what branch you were in, not all the other extra stuff. Like,
you'll get it no matter what. They could be admin or a cook, and you'll still get that out of just being when they say they're a Marine.
I love it because I remember once I met an admin person. I was like, I didn't know they were a Marine. I was like, oh, I'm a Marine, kill admin. I'm like, whoa, admin people kill too. All right. Like with the pencil, got it,
Yeah.
No, that's pretty awesome. But it's when you see people join, it's one of those things where, there's always like a motivating factor. And for a lot of people, it was 9/11. So it's good to hear that for you, it was 9/11 also. And I was already in at that time. I joined in 2000, and I was in the middle of a 2-week battalion field training exercise that just started. We were on day 3, and we were in the field, and then our platoon sergeant comes up to us, our smoke, and he goes, hey, we got to go back in because the World Trade Centers have been hit by airplanes. We thought it was a training scenario. We're like, oh, okay, so where are we going? He's like, no, this is serious. And it took us 3 hours to get back on the installation because they pulled everyone out of the field.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was a crazy day. That was a crazy day. Have you deployed at all?
No, unfortunately, I have not. Granted, I can't talk about my MOS, but we spend a lot of time in the field, though.
Right. No, that's yeah. Um, and and I always tell people like, because some people feel like that if they don't deploy, that they haven't done their part, and then
Oh,
you got
100%.
those assholes too, like, oh well, you're not a real soldier or marine or whatever. It's like that doesn't mean anything. It's just for some reason those cards didn't line up for said person to deploy. You know.
That doesn't, and that's one thing I've spoken about this on my podcast, like going into like that mental health stigma side of it, is that you're exactly right. And what we've been calling them, because I do like this monthly roundtable thing with other
Hmm.
podcasts, or if we have like a guest with the three of us, where we just discuss, because like one is called Cancel for Maintenance, which they're an aviation podcast. So they're totally irrelevant to like what I do on mine. And then the other podcast, she's more of like outside of the fob or life after the military and trauma. Like we have similars, but she also talks about it from a different perspective. But that's what we talk about is our roundtable. We call them. Sorry, my dog decided he wants to be a part of this today.
It's okay.
Um, we just like we call them the now veterans because it seems like the bro vet culture brings that upon it, especially like we were in peacetime. Like there's nothing we can do about not deploying, not seeing
Hmm.
the shit that's not at any like we should almost be thankful that we're in
Yeah.
a peacetime. Like, okay, yes, we are trained killers, we're trained, fucking raw, like yeah, that's how we're trained. But it's almost like why are we mad at people that are in peacetime? Like there's nothing we can do about it. It's a good thing. Like
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah, like there's actually I've talked to a veteran at work because I work at Intel, and he was like, "Oh, well, I did some time and didn't deploy," and I was like, "Well, I'm glad you didn't." And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Look, man," I was like, "It's not all it's cracked up to be." When I joined, there was hope before 9/11, and you didn't see too many in the army. They have the combat patches. You didn't see too many of them around. You saw like onesies and twosies. My squad leader had one because he was part of Desert Storm and stuff like that. And I was like, well, dang, I want to do my part. That's why I joined. Well, ask and you shall receive. I went 6 freaking times and got like authorized to wear like 11 different combat patches. So like after all of it, it's like, man, I can't unsee and undo all that stuff, and I'm still working through crap 3 years after retirement, and it's still a work through in progress. And it's like, I tell the guys and girls now who are in and haven't deployed, or it's like, I just want to go. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, I get it. I admire it. It's honorable, but it's not something you want because once you're there, it's like everything, the perspective changes and it changes you as a person, Like,
Mm-hmm.
I always say, like, the innocent me died in 2003, and then some other person, some other thing inside of me woke up, and that's kind of what's in charge and been in charge for a long time, kind of just being how I was. And now like the innocent me is coming back. He's now they're kind of like riding side by side, because if I need to activate that other side, he's right there ready to go. But like now the innocent guy's driving, and the other guy, he's in the passenger seat kind of watching stuff, if that makes sense.
Oh no, absolutely. And the fact that you recognize that and like you're trying to work towards that, a lot of people, it's again talking about that mental health stigma, a lot of people don't try to channel that because it makes them feel weak or like it didn't mean anything. Like, yeah, I saw shit, so I should feel this way. No, you shouldn't. Like you doesn't matter your gender. You shouldn't like you're not weak because you experienced something fucking traumatic. Like
Yeah.
you experienced something traumatic. That is very, very, I shouldn't say normal, but it's normal to feel not okay. It does not change who you are. And that's one thing that, makes me upset is that we feel the need that your service is validated whether you deploy and see something. Like
Hmm.
you have to go through a traumatic event for your service to count or mean anything. It's a very weird. I've never understood that. Like I have seen more in my past job, like because I worked in law enforcement. I have seen more when I did that than I have during my time in service. And
Yeah.
it's almost like as weird as it sounds, sometimes I look at the Marine Corps as like a break occasionally it has brought more trauma to me. But at the same time, when I compare the two, like the days, like today, comparing to the things I've had to experience in law enforcement, I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's cool. I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
but that's a concept I've never understood, is how that validates anything, or even to claim, like, Marines, like I said, we take just that name to like the heart. Like, even after service, like, you might as well have it in like, you go through boot camp, get your EGA, get it tattooed across your forehead. Like, might as well do that. Because, but then again, people get upset if somebody's an admin or something, or supply. Like, why are we upset when people are supply? Like, you ain't getting nothing without them.
Exactly.
You ain't getting food without them. And that's all y'all want, is that hot meal when you've been in the freaking field for a month and a half and you want that hot chow. Yeah. Then who looks dumb?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you got the cooks and you got the supply, and then there's still admin work that has to be done, and it's like I tell people like there's a reason why they chose those jobs. Maybe they chose it because they're trying to do something. Maybe they're only doing 4 years, but they want that background experience of doing admin or cook work because maybe they want to do something after they serve.
oh,
You
absolutely. I had a girl in my, like, I went to boot camp together, and she was in for a cook because she wants to be like, have a, I think it was either a school or just be a professional chef and do like culinary stuff. So she was like,
Right.
this will help promote when I go to do my own business for cooking. Because it's like, oh, I was a Marine and I was a cook in the Marine Corps. Like, no, it's smart if that's what they want to do to enhance their life. Because college isn't for everybody. I did
Mhm.
college and I was like, nope, not for me, even though I'm right back into it. But at the time, I was like, nope.
Yeah, I'm doing the college now, and I don't even like it. I'm almost done, but damn it, like ah,
Yeah,
it's
I'm currently halfway through my legal studies degree, because that's what I want to do when I get out of the Marine Corps. Is I want to own my own business, but I also want to be a veteran lawyer, like somebody that's contracted through the military, to help victims of like sexual assault and domestic violence, which is part of like, that actually got inspired with doing my podcast and like the situations I've had to deal with, whether it be legal or whatever with my domestic violence case. That really was like, man, this is effed up. So I don't want people to go through what I've been through or feel the way that I felt. So I'm going to try to be that person that makes sure that doesn't happen, or at least create a community that helps prevent that. So.
oh, that's pretty cool. So, are you gonna make it and this, I don't know, this might be kind of like a question that already answered itself, but are you gonna make the Marines a career, or are you trying to do a certain time, or how's that gonna
No,
work?
I am one and done, and I am to the point in my life where I am like, the fact that I couldn't for a hot minute there, like just recently, I've been able to just go take a piss and not have to be like, hey, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go take a pee. Like, even
Yeah.
as a boss, I was still telling somebody when I had to go do that. And I'm like, I can't. And then the stupidity part, like, it's amazing that I haven't been NJP'd yet for my mouth, because the stupidity is just like dumbfounding. And I'm like, I get, some people, that's all they've known. They went to the Marine Corps straight out of high school. They probably came from a bad background or wasn't taught right. What the fuck ever. But
Yeah.
oh my God, I could put my hands on some of these people and shake them like an unwanted baby to maybe knock some screws back into place.
Oh, I hear you on that one. You still there?
It just, oh my God, it was frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Well, I know, and I had that happen too, where the same thing. I went to go to the bathroom just to go pee, and then the platoon sergeant I had at the time, he was just a piece of work. He's like, "Where'd you go?" I was like, "I went to the bathroom." "You need to tell me." "No, I don't." "Yes, you do." I was like, "Well, you want to hold my hand and hold it for me too while I go pee? Then, like, is that what you want to do?"
Exactly.
And he just looked at me, and as soon as that came out, I was like, "Fuck, I might get an Article 15 for this,"
Yep.
like. But he didn't. He was just like, "Well, just make sure someone knows." How are you gonna make sure somebody knows when I go pee? Like, What they do back in the
So
day, like, there was when there was no phones or nothing like that. You just, we'll just wait for them to come back. Go find them, like someone comes in, hey, you in
sometimes
here?
I
Yeah.
wonder with the whole phone thing, like the thing that also really pisses me off, the amount of group chats. It's like,
Yo,
what what did y'all do? What did we do before phones?
nothing.
Because
I was in when cell phones started to become a thing in 2000. I had got my phone, but not too many people had them. And if someone wasn't there, you attempted to call if they had a phone, and if not, you just waited for them to show the hell up. Like there was nothing you can do. Like you just wait. But I mean, they're
I
not
would almost
there.
rather that to an extent. To an extent. Because the amount of group chats, I think I have had my first month in the fleet, I was in like 5 different group chats. And then on top of normal text group chats, you also got like the WhatsApp or Signal or whatever stupid app we've got also with another group chat. And I'm like, holy Jesus. Like, why? Why?
Tell you, like I was luckily enough, they didn't have group chats or any of that thing. I was kind of lucky there. I mean, I just messaged people indirectly, and I wasn't plugged into any. I mean, I retired as an E7, so like I didn't hit that level to where maybe a first sergeant would be in a group chat or nothing like that. But there was always those group emails that I was in. That's just because of the distro. But that was, oh, thank goodness I was not part of the group chats, because I could just see that being a piece of work.
That's an understatement.
Like, and then I know, and it's funny when it's that, because even at work, someone sent an email to the wrong distro email group, and it
Oh
sent it to,
no.
and it sent it to everyone at work,
Oh,
right? Everyone at Intel where I worked at. Let me tell you, oh, people were responding with stuff that was so funny. So what does Eric do? Eric has to respond too, because if other people are responding with nonsense, I'm going to respond with nonsense. And it was someone's birthday, so like then everyone started saying happy birthday. So the initial email that was sent didn't even matter anymore, because someone said, well, hey, thanks for the email, it's my birthday. So now there was another like 300 emails of happy birthday.
Oh no.
So then people were like, stop hitting reply all. And then someone replied all and said, no.
Oh my god.
That went on for like 2 days. It was the funniest thing. And I'm sitting here cracking up. And my wife's like, what are you laughing? And I was like, another email.
Oh jeez.
So then I started, they started sending memes and GIFs in the emails. So that was a whole nother day, And
I
then
can
some like
only imagine.
Then some big head honcho guy got involved. I was like, everyone stop replying all. Well, that didn't go well for him either.
Oh no, did more people keep replying?
Yeah, when I put my phone down, and then when I went back, there was like 400 emails.
Oh my god.
So that went on for like 3 days, and then it just kind of just died down. People just stopped. People muted the emails and things. But it's funny that I like how that happens, and you can tell like people, like put veteran in their tagline. Like I put my old signature block, like how I did in the Army. I don't even care. I just put retired in parentheses, you know. But
Yeah.
so it's funny, and I bet like I was like, half of these people are probably veterans too. But that was funny. So it's funny you talk about the groups like that. That made me think of that. Made me laugh. So for your podcast, I don't know if we covered this one. And what kind of geared this one? Did something happen to you or to other people, or did you see like big picture, or like, and how did you come up with the name? Like, so like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Like you got the pinup 50s girl, she's flexing with like a red bandana in her hair, then you got, she's, looks pretty neat. So I was wondering what's the whole basis behind it?
So back in February, well, it was really started in January, was I don't know if you ever saw the viral TikTok of a sergeant in the Marine Corps talking about how her perpetrator got away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so her name is Delina, and actually, thanks to the podcast, her and I are really good friends now.
Hmm.
But I started it because of her, and because I was so sick and tired, because active duty, we have to watch what we say, watch what we post. If we do post something that's kind of controversial, we have to put that this does not reflect on the Marine Corps, it's my own
Yep.
personal opinion, all that, shenanigans, whatever. So I never in a million world, never would I have thought that I had my own podcast. But I was like, you know what? Where's somewhere that I can just vent and nobody's going to know it's me? And I was talking to one of my girlfriends at work. She's like, well, what about a podcast? I was like, that's actually a really good, like, I don't know. Like, if anybody listens to my first episode and compare it to now, holy jeebus, because it was atrocious. My first episode, like, I'm still learning stuff, but like that first
Mm-hmm.
episode, there was so much background noise, the editing. Oh my God, it was so stupid. I had no idea what I was doing. And,
No, yeah, that's awesome.
but so she was actually my co-host with me, and I don't know where the whole, I honestly, like, the it's effed up part, which is like my user handle literally for everything, is because everything we talked about is effed up. So that part made sense.
Right.
But then when we were like collaborating on different names, I'm like, okay, there's two of us. We're stupid. We're Marines. So women with an effed up mind makes sense. Because originally when we started, it was more so geared towards women, like just the female part of like the messed upness of the military.
Right.
Like, domestic violence was not even on my platform. It literally was just mainly geared towards sexual assault, sexual harassment. And then we got more in tune with it, kind of figured out what we were doing. And then she got stationed. She ended up getting, she's somewhere else, like in the entire world. Like she's totally somewhere different. She actually got to deploy. Like we're not in the same, oh, I can't say the word because it'll give it away. We're
Oh,
in the
don't.
same unit, just not the same command. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Um, so she is deployed right now. And I was like, you know what? Well, I still want to keep, hitting the ground running on this. I'm going to keep everything the same. But the modern day Rosie Riveter logo, I wanted Rosie Riveter. I am obsessed with World War II era, like World War I, World War II era. My absolute favorite. So if you look closely, like if you actually look like not the faded version of her, she's got tattoos. She's got the F bomb pin on her shirt. That's what
Mhm.
I use the F bomb for everything. She's blonde, and I even put earrings on her that I like that are my favorite type of earrings. Um, so I kind of made her like a modern day Rosie Riveter because it's like the military trying to create this movement of change. And then like later on when we come into it, like got down the road, I actually unfortunately became a domestic violence victim with my ex-boyfriend. So then that opened that platform, which I ironically already had the podcast going. Like I already started it. And then a month and a half later, that's when that platform I really realized how messed up it is in the military in general for
Mhm.
domestic violence.
Right.
And then like the mental health stigma started because one of our girlfriends, um, she tried to kill herself, and the Marine Corps the command we had did nothing. She like that was my in my face pure reality. Like I've always known about like the 22 a day thing. Everybody
Right.
knows about it. But for it to be in front of my face, watch it happen, and nobody wanted to do anything was like a whole different, like it really put it in perspective, trying to put it like into words.
Right.
But that was my reality of like, oh my God, this is real. Like this is a thing. Like, yes, I knew this was a thing, but now I'm actually seeing it. This needs to be heard even more. And it's like, I don't want to make a business of this. I don't want to make money off of this. Like occasionally I'll do like fundraisers or stuff, but the money that I make literally goes towards a nonprofit or whatever. Like when we had Corporal Teu, I was able to raise over $2,000 for her when she got released from the brig. There's a couple other organizations like Oath to Country Foundation that they help homeless veterans in LA. Operation Foxhole, they help domestic violence spouses and military service members, but like stuff like that. I don't want this to be a business. I don't want it to be like that. Like I want change to happen. That's what I care about the most, is that the reality of things come to light and need fixed. So yeah.
Well, no, that's pretty neat. I like all of that, and it's, there's, I like how there's always like a driving force behind it. And everyone has a story, like you have your story for why you started it and the reasons. And I always love hearing them, because it's like I like to just sit there and just take it in and be like, dang, so that's why they started that. That's how they got the name. That's their logo. Cool. Even though sometimes not cool, but cool because you got the courage to actually do something about it. Because I know stuff like that in the military is super, super bad. I mean, I know I personally never saw it, like at least within my ranks, and I didn't tolerate it at all in my ranks. As I moved up the ranks, I became the equal opportunity NCO for my unit in Germany, and that put like a whole different perspective on stuff. Learning about equal opportunity, and like, because the way people talk to each other sometimes, it's like you're like, okay, that's a little disrespectful, but you never think about, yeah, that other person's laughing, but does that bother them? Does that offend them? Like, and people talk about feelings and things like that and whatever, and yeah, okay, I'm a person that says, I don't give a damn about your feelings, but at the same time, I do care. I'm not gonna disrespect your, like, your gender, your race, or whatever like that. But if your feelings are hurt because I'm making you do something tough, I don't give a shit. You're gonna do it, and I don't give a damn. Like, I treat everybody the same. Man, woman who wants to become a man who wants to become a woman, whatever they want to identify themselves as nowadays, they get treated the same, and I tried to keep that across, so that way, at least, so when I leave, people who were under me try to keep that going. And it's unfortunate that some people abuse that, and they go a little overboard.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what I was about to bring up. Is that, like, I love to hear that, but the reality of it is that that's not always the case, and it's more so not the case than it is. And it's like you would think. I don't understand, like when we were talking about the peacetime thing, how you wouldn't want to take care of your people even more, or get to know your Marines, your soldiers, your airmen, whatever it is. Why you wouldn't take that time? Because the more you care about your people, like I'm not saying you have to like love them, be in love with them, whatever, but knowing your people and realizing that like shit happens, it can go such a different way because you build up camaraderie within the ranks during peacetime. When things do pop off, you know that person has your back at the end of the day. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you right now, I would not, oh my God, I would not go to combat with 90% of the people I work with.
Well,
Absolutely no shape or form. I would never trust these people with my life. And that is super important with what I do.
yeah,
But I
and
would.
that's bad. That's horrible to say. Like, I hear that, and it's like, what the heck, Like, and it's not even on you or them. It's just like, it's just the scenario of it. Like, why? What the hell? It should not be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I was, and my wife asked me one time, a few months ago, maybe 3, 4, 5 months ago, like, would I save somebody's life who I hated, who I did not like, if it was in combat? And I paused, but part of me wanted to say fuck no, but then the other part of me wanted to say, yes. So like overall, I was like, yeah, I would. And she was like, why? And I was like, well, because regardless of who that person is, they're fighting next to you. They may not like you, but they're fighting with you, and you have to do your diligence to save that person, even though you don't like them, because that right there may change their mind about you, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
even change their life. Now, don't get me wrong, I will slap the hell out of them because I can, because they're in pain and they're not going to feel it. I'm like, you stupid son of a bitch. Bah, here you go. Now I'm going to save your life, you know? But it's just, I hear that, and it's like, oh, and I tried to enforce that when I was in. I was like, it doesn't matter who that person is. If you don't like them, it doesn't matter. You have to respect the rank, but you don't have to respect the person. But when shit hits the fan, you will defend that person, whether you like it or not. And I had to preach that, because there was some of my superiors I didn't like. But if it came down to it, I would have to defend them and protect them and even save their life.
Oh no, I absolutely 100% agree with you. I could hate you like with every inch of my body, but at the end of the day, like I will still. At the end of the, you're a human. We're in the shit, and if I'm capable of helping you, I'm gonna help you, whether I like you or not. But that's the problem nowadays, is that people don't have that mindset. They really don't. They're like, well, I don't like you because this, what, for whatever. And then it's probably 90% of the time something really stupid. But they wouldn't help at the end of the day. I guarantee you, if I went through all these people that I work with and been like, okay, because I know I could point out, I know you don't like him, I know you don't like her, yada, yada, yada. And they wouldn't say the same thing. Like, absolutely not. Fuck them. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not, I really think this is kind of like my theory on it. It's a generational thing
Yeah.
because I am much older and have experienced life. I'm not saying that I know it all or better or whatever, but I think with this new generation, things are just different. I mean, every generation has their quirky mindset, whatever it is. But I really think that's what plays a big toll into how things are in the military. But even then, like with my platform, like that's not a generational thing. That's just like people being shitheads to just because.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. Like that's totally crazy. I don't even understand why people do that.
Yeah, I really don't either. And like, so I'm in one of my courses I'm taking right now is called rape and sexual. I think it's like sexual violence or something like that. But I purposely took that class. One, I counted as an elective, and two, because of my advocacy work. And it really got the teacher asked us. She was like, to put us in the mindset of somebody that is sexually abusing somebody. And I'm like, I don't understand that concept. I can't even pretend to think about that because it doesn't make sense. I can't pretend to tell myself, well, they're unconscious or they're super drunk. Like, I'm going to go do this or go do that. Or, they said no, but I want it. Like, I can't even picture myself doing that. And some of these
Yeah.
stories, man, that like there was one episode that I actually did cry on. Like, I knew her story, like vaguely, but she went into detail on it. And it like we all started crying on the episode. And then like some of these stories, like people will reach out to me and I'm just like, how? Why is this a thing? Like, how does anybody in their right mind, or even the ones that can't get help, or the
Mm-hmm.
military gives them the shaft for whatever reason, like I did, and like my abuser's command didn't give him any, like I had proof, police report, I did everything I was supposed to do, and they did nothing to him. They sent him on broke his legal hold, sent him to new orders, and he is now a recruiter.
Whoa. That's like the
Yeah,
worst place.
exactly. And it was ironic too because I don't know why it popped up, but his recruiter page popped up when he finally, I guess, made one. And he recruited one of his first pulleys was a female.
Jeez. That's
And I'm like, huh, alrighty then. As I'm still sitting here 7 months later and waiting on my IG complaint to figure everything out. I shouldn't even got to that point where I had to have an IG complaint on it,
right.
but it did. For anything to potentially or anybody to be held accountable. But the crazy part is, I'm kind of going off topic, sort of, kind of, not really, but
You're good.
domestic violence wasn't even added into the UCMJ until 2019. So
That's
then,
crazy.
I know, 2019, like that's, domestic violence isn't a new thing. Like, it's
Yeah.
not a new issue. Like, it's not just like, poof, here's domestic violence, let's take care of it. No. But in the Marine Corps, I don't know the exact policy of the other branches, but I've just really dived deep in the Marine Corps dealing with my case, is that the only policy in the Marine Corps says that it is up to the abuser's O5 commanding officer to decide what happens to that said Marine. No, he doesn't have to consult legal. He doesn't have to do anything. Like, literally doesn't have to do anything. He can literally look at that Marine and say, well, he's a hard worker. He's got good PT scores. It's fine. Everybody makes mistakes. So,
Yeah, and
hence,
that's
yeah.
that's wrong.
Yeah. Hence why I didn't even get an MPO, military protection order. I didn't get anything that I asked for. No contact order. Like, I had to get my lawyer involved to even get a no contact order. And by the time they had sent us the no contact order, they already were sending him to his new orders.
Jeez. I know in the army, while you're under investigation, you go nowhere. You go nowhere, nothing happens. Like that's the one thing I will say, at least everything I've seen when it comes to anything that involves like IG or CID, the Criminal Investigation Division. Like I've watched a guy, I think it was in Germany. He was gonna PCS. He was gonna leave in Germany to go to the States. Something happened. He was trying to cover it up, and then like 3 days before he was supposed to go on leave to fly back to the States, they found out. They put his orders on hold. Then they canceled him, and he didn't go nowhere. And then he got arrested.
As he should.
Yeah. And I was like, dang. Because one day I saw him, and the next day he was gone, and I was like, hey, what happened? They're like, hey, he's under investigation, and then they found out he did some shit, and then now he's in jail. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, they didn't even. So they put him on, like, they delayed his orders, I think, like a week. And the investigation wasn't even done yet. But that's the thing. I shouldn't even say an investigation because, again, there doesn't need to be an official investigation. If that commanding officer that same week said, I'm not going to do anything, and that's essentially what was going to happen until it hit the blotter. When it
Yeah.
hits the blotter, that's when we're like, shit, probably should do it. Like, at that point, regardless of the situation, they have to do. That's the only time that they have to do the investigation by policy. So did
Yep.
this command do anything illegal? No. Did they
Yep.
do the right thing? No. But still, it's not illegal in the Marine Corps to not do the right thing. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. In one of my previous duty stations, back in '09 and or '08, I was on the crosshairs for being that guy that just was not a yes man. I wasn't. And they tried to kick me out in multiple different ways. I even watched the battalion commander steal something. I brought it up and they said, oh, he didn't steal it. He's borrowing it. I'm like, no, he legit stole that piece of equipment because he was missing it before he left.
Jeez.
And they let him go. And then, oh, what happened? He got promoted to colonel, to
Oh
full
my
bird
God.
colonel. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, like what the heck? I mean, and then there are turnarounds too, like there was someone, I won't say his rank because I don't want to put the person out there, but this person was very, very rude to me, very mean. And people who know me and know the story know who he is. We deployed and we were replacing his unit. Um, and, I had worked hard to rebuild my name with help of a good friend of mine to rebuild my name as actually a good leader and not torn down by the previous unit. Well, we got there. He destroyed me again, tarnished me and whatever. And I had to fight back again to reestablish that I was a competent leader. And just because this person at that time was not there and just was, I don't know, had just something against me. I don't know what it was. Well, years later, he's out, done, retired, listens to my podcast and basically said without saying that I'm doing great things and he's proud of me. And I'm like, well, okay, thanks. But at the same time, like, what the heck, and then my wife had to put stuff in a different perspective for me because, she's just she's a very grounded individual like that and helps me see the big picture on things. And she's like, you know what, Eric, babe, maybe this is his way to say he's sorry. And I was like, took me a second. I had to swallow that because I was like, like, okay. And I had to really, really process that for a while to finally like, you know what, maybe that is him making an apology for how he was, because if he was still spiteful, he wouldn't have said anything. He wouldn't be commenting on my show. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I took that, because of her, she kind of put that in there and I was like, oh, all right. So it's like, it's just weird. You know how like when people are and you look back and they try to apologize, but they do it in their own way. And like, that's what just some people have to pay attention to also. Like some people are trying to apologize, but because they can't physically say I'm sorry, because for whatever reason, but they're doing it in a different way. Sometimes you have to pick that up and kind of just run with it.
Yeah.
So I know that's a different piece there. So now another question: when you're done in out of the Marines and stuff, are you going to remove the veil or are you going to stay anonymous?
I haven't. I get asked this all the time. I don't know. I haven't quite decided yet. I was on a live with the Marine rapper about this, and he brought up a good point. He was like, look, you don't have to cover up as much, because like I Photoshop shit out, and like I'm always covered for a reason.
Hmm.
Like I
Yeah.
got tattoos everywhere. But he was like, you won't have to do that. He's like, but the whole mask look. He's like, you don't have to put sunglasses or a hat, but the whole mask look like almost goes with what you do, because it's
Yeah.
like trying to break the silence of the silenced, because we have to be silent in the military. It doesn't matter what it is. We pretty much have to be silent. Even if you say these are my personal opinions, we know there's always like some sort of repercussion down the line. And that's yeah, I haven't that's probably the route I'll go with it. Just not cover up as much. I don't know. That's yeah. That
So
weighs
what?
into me. I'm definitely going to get a lot louder, and I don't put stuff on my personal. Like, I don't even follow any of my pages on my personal page.
Right.
And I'm glad I didn't, because at one point in time, oh my God, one point in time, I had people go through my followership, and I had 4 people reach out to me. Somebody was going down my followers or people that my page was following, and was finding every blonde and I had short hair and was messaging them, asking them if they were me.
What the hell?
So I was like, that took some effort. Like, you
Yeah.
really had to dive deep. And then you had the audacity to message them, which is even weirder. So it's like,
Yeah.
all right.
That's the next level shit right there. Like,
Exactly.
whoa, damn. Well, I don't know. Whoever knows what that person was means you're doing something if they're trying to figure out who you are.
Oh yeah. No, I eventually figured out who it was, and it did. It made sense.
Right. Yeah, and I asked that question for you because I was like wondering, it's like, kind of like how whoever he said, I think he said Marine rapper. Is that the guy from TikTok, the Marine rapper?
He is on TikTok. Um, yeah, I guess kind of. I mean, he's a little bit of everywhere.
Oh,
He's
okay.
he's pretty big. Like he just released a song today. But yeah, if you look him up on Instagram, the Marine rapper, you'll
Oh,
you'll
okay.
find out quick.
Oh, okay. Wasn't kind of like he was saying, like the whole like anonymous thing kind of works, and I was gonna say that's why I was wondering what your take on it would be. Like, are you gonna do it? Are you not gonna do it? Like, because I would almost say kind of like do it like a half. Like, say if you were to come onto somewhere, kind of do it like how, almost kind of like how your picture is a little bit. Wear the red bandana, maybe throw some sunglasses on and a face mask, and boom, here I am.
Yeah,
Like, and
and I
this
won't
is about as
be.
much as you get.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, that's what I think the route that I'm gonna take, and not be as nervous when I go to events. Because I've been to three, four. I've been to 4 events now,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have met quite a bit of people that I've met through the podcast. Actually, I've met them in person. Like I just met. There's this page that I do like a lot of collaboration where like she puts my stuff out there, and it's called the Marines Ununited. And we went and got coffee the other day, and she was like, "You do realize that we could totally out each other?" And I was like, "Well, we don't gain anything from that. So if
Yeah.
I out you, you out me, then the whole mission's lost. So this is why we like working together, because
Yeah.
we keep it low key." Um, but yeah, like there's been numerous things that I've done. Like I even went to DC one time, and the meetings got canceled, but I was willing to put it out there like, hey, here we are. But
Right.
yeah, I think that'll be the biggest thing. I won't be as nervous to go out in public and
Right.
realize like, oh yeah, that's Jay Marie, and I'm like, shit, don't put my face up there, please.
Covering your face like paparazzi, be like, no, no.
Exactly.
Putting your head in your shirt.
Yep.
Oh, geez. Well, we're gonna go ahead and do my little last part here. Is if you what I like to do is I call it the closing statement. Kind of just the one message from you to the people listening. I would say watching. I guess they're kind of watching and listening, but we'll go more with listening. Um, for them, like anything that personal message that you have for them who are listening.
So I would have to say that be open-minded, and not everything seems as they appear, or just because something doesn't happen to you doesn't mean that you shouldn't care. And like, I'm not saying you have to go out of your way to help victims and do this and that, but be open minded. And then if you know somebody is struggling, don't make them feel worse than they already do, because it's okay to not be okay and have to deal with real life bullshit regardless. So instead of, my favorite thing to say right now is, you don't have to be a good person, just don't be a dick.
I like that.
That's my thing right now. Like, I've got it written real big on my whiteboard. So, like, the first thing you see when you walk in the office, it just says that real big.
Nice. I like that. That's a good one. So if anyone didn't hear anything, you don't have to be a good person. Just don't be a dick.
Yep.
So I think that's the message for today. But
Yes.
I appreciate you, J. Marie, for coming on, taking the time to do this here. I know we had to reschedule from last week. I get it, active duty shenanigans. That's why I wasn't even tripping. I was like, the moment you didn't say something, I was like, oh, probably something happened,
Yeah.
and then it was. So I get it, because I've been there. I was there too. So, but I do appreciate you taking the time to come on, doing this and speaking and kind of just talking about what you do and stuff like that. And I look forward to you kind of just pushing your message out there more and more people. So people who want to follow her podcast, it's in the description of this link. Her link is also down at the bottom of the description of here on Facebook and on what was it? Damn it, lost my train of thought. On the Anchor as well, or if you listen to your podcast wherever, if you read the description, you go towards the bottom. Her info's there, so you can follow her. My Firebase link's down there also. So tune in next time as we have another guest up here on the Warrior Mindset and Motivation podcast. I hope y'all have a great day. Keep pushing for the rest of the week. It's almost done for those who are still working. And if you're not, go do something nice today. Remember, you don't have to be a good person. Just don't be a dick.
Yes.
Thank you, J. Marie, for coming on. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you.